Yes, I am back. Apologies if I sound somewhat hoarse in this terrible edition of my car-related podcast. I was at a music festival over the weekend, so I only returned home yesterday. Yesterday being Monday afternoon, after 3 nights of sleeping in my own filth in a tent. That's overrating it a bit. Did bougie camping, the lower end of the bougie camping amongst me and my friends to split the cost. But that does mean you get to avail of showers. So I did get at least a shower every morning, which washes off some of the grime. But yeah, a weekend of hedonism, and hence why I probably sound a bit bassier than normal. Great fun though, altogether now. Don't think I mentioned that. This was the festival. I'd highly recommend it if you enjoy a music festival and the arts. Loads of great acts, a good eclectic range of music, loads of little zones to go in and out of, lots of food and drink. And one of the great things, unlike several other festivals, is you can bring your own drink into the main arena, so you don't have to spend all your life savings buying overpriced pints out of plastic cups, which is good. It's by the guy who originally set up Electric Picnic, so it's like what Electric Picnic was 10 years ago. Great fun. Pissed rain on the Friday night, which turned the whole place into a bit of a swamp. But yeah, it was weather improved as the weekend went on. And surprisingly, when we were leaving, the car park was drivable, regardless of what form of powered wheels you had, be it front, rear, or all-wheel drive. I only saw one car actually stuck. It was a Fiesta, a Mark 7 Fiesta, I think. Stuck in and it was. So just let's say every car was parked vertically, towards the festival. For some reason, this Fiesta was parked horizontally, so I don't know if they tried to leave at one point and got stuck in a muddy bit, because it was literally just sitting in its own little circle of softer mud than the rest, and it was beached. It almost looks like it had been abandoned. There had been attempts to get it out, and they obviously went, fuck this, we'll worry about it later. So I'll stop talking about a music festival now, because this is supposed to be about cars. Obviously there was no cars. Sorry, excuse me. Again, I'm doing this after I've just eaten lunch. I really should stop doing that. A learning curve. I'm slow to adapt to things, as is probably obvious. It's unsurprising there was no vehicles at the music festival itself. I didn't really see anything particularly interesting in the car park. There was one big, I assume it's the extended wheelbase Mercedes. What's the big Mercedes van called? The big one, the very, very big, long wheelbase, high roof job, but it was matte black, full zombie spec, all-wheel drive, big knobbly tyres. That was kind of cool. And there was a few funky camper vans in the actual camper van camping site thing. But probably the most interesting car-related thing that happened over the weekend was when we were driving home. Thankfully, I wasn't driving. I wouldn't have been able to. We were on the lane one. My brain isn't going to work very well this week. Just cruising along, and then in the outside lane, we could see in the rearview mirror something interesting looking coming up. And as it passed us, it was I'm going to say gold coloured Lancia Prisma. An original Irish car. I think it was on a Kildare reg. Looked absolutely immaculate, which is surprising for an 80s Lancia. Giuseppe driving it wasn't hanging around, doing a bit of tailgating to get people out of his way. I don't know, maybe his oil pressure was dropping or something. He just wanted to get home before it blew up. But yeah, that was the only real car related event that happened. Because I was at a music festival pretty much from Friday morning up until yesterday afternoon, I didn't really do much car related tomfoolery since I last was speaking to y'all. So I'll get into just some interesting. This will probably be genuinely this time a shorter podcast than normal. I always say I'll try and keep them relatively short and then ramble on for over an hour talking absolute nonsense. But this one probably will be short because not only was I at a music festival, there wasn't a whole lot of like motorsport or anything like that going on. Well, there was some motorsport going on, but we'll get into that in a moment. But just car related news. I suppose I'll start with probably the most notable one that happened over the last week, which unless you're living under a rock, you would have heard about the 911 ST, the latest special edition Porsche that they're going to make 1,963 of, because it's to celebrate. What would that be? 46? That'd be 60 years, wouldn't it? Yeah, 60 years of the 911, because it started in 1963. 40, yeah, 60. And it's essentially the 992 generation take on the 991 generation 911R, which evolved into the touring. So yeah, it's a GT3, it's a GT product Porsche, but like the touring, it doesn't have a big massive wing hanging at the back. It's got the GT3 RS powertrain, I say powertrain, it's the engine from the GT3 RS made it to a short throw 6-speed manual, and I think it's the roof, the doors, the bonnet, and the engine cover, engine lid, are all carbon fibre, magnesium wheels. Yeah, it's a cool thing. Look, you can't deny it. It's a GT3. It's a GT3 RS touring with a manual gearbox, essentially, if you want to boil it down. It's an expensive car. Over here, before you put any options on it, I think it's £500,000. So it's near damn it. It's double the price of a touring. Now it's lighter than a touring. I think it's less than 1,400 kilos. I think it's 13 something. I think you can get that. I think you can shave that down even further if you go for all the lightweight options that you can undoubtedly tack onto it. You can get it in like heritage paint schemes and stickers and stuff and blah blah blah. But if it was me, I'd go for just a subtle colour. Go for a tasty interior. I'd probably go some sort of funky fabric on the interior, like houndstooth or pasha or something. Nothing too leery in the colour, but it's a nice design, cloth interior, with a subtle colour on the outside. I must play around with the configurator later. Not easy to say when your mind is turned to mush after a weekend of destroying brain cells. Yeah, I'm going to play with around. I'll play around the configurator later. If I come to a spec that I like, I'll post that up on the Instagram, car_nosaur, CAR_NOSAUR on Instagram. Yeah, cool thing. Look, I know the price is a lot. The end of the day, it's going to hold its value. It's a special edition Porsche, that everyone wants. They could sell double or triple the amount that they're going to make, if not more. At the end of the day, if you're in the market for something like that, if you're actually allowed to buy it, you're definitely in the rarefied world of having many, many, many millions of pounds, if not billions, euros even. So yeah, the 911 SE. Other Porsche news, all the journalists have been buzzing around in the 718 Boxster Spider GT4 RS, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So the GT4 came and put the Boxster version, so the one with no roof. And yeah, obviously it's brilliant. It's probably not as good as the Cayman, because the Cayman's got a more rigid structure, but narrowing that down to finicky bullshit that only Max Verstappen would feel. It's obviously a great car. If you want a Cayman without a roof, get that. If you prefer roofs, get the Cayman. It's all like, even the Cayman GT4 RS I think is a bit too much for anyone really as a road car. I personally would just have would I have a Cayman GT4 even? I think even that would be too much for me. I'm no highly skilled tillerman, so I don't know. It's just a 6-pot. I Cayman GTS with a manual gearbox. I think that would be all the car I'd ever need. All the car I'd ever need would be any car at the moment, to be honest with you. Yes, that's the Porsche. we'll stick with Porsche then as well. Just the Theon 911, which I know isn't pretty spectacular news to anyone listening to this. It's another resto mod Porsche. Only reason I bring it up is, one, the reviews I read of it, because few journals have managed to get their hands on. I think it's the first right-hand drive one they built. And unsurprisingly, it's brilliant. But I was at Bicester Heritage there a few months back, and they had one there, and your man, the head, whoever is the CEO of Theon, was there and chatting away to me, and I was very quickly, as he's talking, I was like, here, look, I don't know if you need to do the big sell on me, because it'll be, if ever, I certainly can't afford one of these right now. He's like, hey, look, never say never. And he gave me a good 5 minutes of his time just talking about, the company, and how they're a small team, and blah blah, the car they wanted to build, and yeah, the usual spiel. But like, a lovely guy. And yeah, if I am in the market for a resto mod 911 because of that nice welcoming chat, I'd consider getting in contact with Theon. It's lovely. It's it's a 964 911, made to look like an older 911, but with modern technology, so bigger wheels, bigger tires, and the Singer is what Singer were doing about 10 years ago. Singer now, don't get me wrong, they're still a cool company. I think everyone would love a Singer, but one, they're gone very expensive. The waiting list is massive. Again, not that makes any difference to me or most people listening to this. But also, like, they've gone a bit OTT. I know you can still just get the stuff they were making 10 years ago. Just get a 964 and make it look like a retro Porsche. But like that newest thing they brought out, the design lightweight turbo. Was that Goodwood and everything? Well, it's the most recent thing that Singer releases. It's an homage to the 935, but it's just a bit over the top. Whereas this Theon thing, especially if you get it in a subtle color, it's a car nerd's resto mod. It's one that, like, someone who wasn't a big car bore saw would just think it's an old 911, whereas those of us with a keen eye will know that ain't no old 911. Only real criticism, and this is criticism of most resto mods, it's very hard to get modern looking lights to fit into a retro design, I think. Singer, in fairness, have done a pretty good job of it, but the Theon ones, they're projector xenons, and possibly even LED, and they look too modern on a retro design, but it's a small thing. I would live with it, put it that way. So we'll move away from Porsche nonsense. I see Toyota have released the newest. Did I say Toyota, didn't I? Not Porsche. I'm going mad. Music festivals do great things for your brain cells. The new Land Cruiser, and they've gone for a bit of a retro retro modern, not quite resto mod, but they've made it look like an 80s Land Cruiser while still looking like a new Land Cruiser. So there's that, but then also they made a big splash of, they still sell the 70 series Land Cruiser. I think it was only really in South Africa, possibly Australia, but now they're going to start making it again for Europe and Japan. It'll be expensive because it's the big boy Land Cruiser, and it looks like the 70 series, so from back in the late 70s, early 80s, but with modern accoutrements in it. I think they've seen the success of the new Defender and more recently the Ineos Grenadier, and they were like, you know what, we can cash in on that. And let's be honest, engineering wise and driving wise, it'll probably be the better car, and probably cooler as well. Toyota Land Cruisers are always cooler than Land Rovers, if I'm being honest. That's just my personal opinion. Whether you agree with me or not, I don't care. Speaking of Defenders as well, I actually read this in Autocar, was it the week before last? But just they've been pushing the news story, because it's been a slow week, on their social medias. I noticed, it reminded me, I should say, that JLR have announced they're going to release a baby Defender. So it'll be Evoque sized, but look like the big Defender. Which I'm not in the market for a car like that. I just don't see the need for any form of 4x4 SUV unless you live on a farm. But the thing that grinds me most about the new Defender is it's bloody massive. I think it's a huge car. I know all cars are getting bigger, but the Defender it's too big, especially for Ireland. Like, it's way too big, especially considering most of them just cruise around the city centre. So a baby Defender, I think, would be a good thing. It'll still be all-wheel drive. Won't quite have all the the gizmos that the big boy has, to create that, create the, what's the word I'm looking for, the expanse between models. But the size wise, and look, end of the day, a first generation Freelander was good off road, so I'm sure their the DNA has only improved since then, and as we've seen from all reviews of any Range Rovers or Land Rover products in recent years, they're very capable off road. So if they can make a capable small off roader and that looks like the new Defender, yeah, more power to them. It would be the one I would have if I had to have one, rather than the full size Defender. But give that a Google. I think at the moment you can only get like renders from Autocar what they think it's going to look like, but I think we all know what it is going to look like. It'll look like a smaller Defender. And then again, look, I think that this news might have broke, I think, just after I recorded last week's podcast, so it's not going to be news to most people, but Volvo also announced in right-hand drive markets they're going to stop selling saloon and estate cars, because they just don't sell that many of them. So it'll be an all SUV lineup, I think as of soon enough, I think next year possibly. So if you want a right-hand drive Volvo estate car, which, when you think of Volvo, well, I do personally, when I think of Volvo, I think estate car. So it's pretty sad news. They will still be making them for left-hand drive markets. So like they're not completely disappearing, but you have to think it won't be long before those markets follow suit. Considering Geely now are pulling the levers at Volvo, they don't really care about the history of the estate car. They just think about profits, and the profits are in SUVs. But sad times. No more Volvo saloon cars, one thing, but no more estates. That's a very sad time. Yeah, to the point where it's almost like when I read the news, like I almost looked up like how much would it cost to get finance on an S90 estate, or sorry, V90 estate would be the estate, wouldn't it? Or even a V60. Get a Volvo estate now before you no longer can. But then I realised that's going to be too expensive, because I can't really afford a car anyway, because the cost of living in Ireland is atrocious. What other car news? This one again. It wasn't a huge big deal made about it, because it hasn't been fully confirmed by the manufacturer themselves yet, but there was images floating around, and it was in and around the time Volkswagen were doing the launch of the facelifted ID.3, which, unsurprisingly, being a Volkswagen facelift, it looks exactly the same as the old one. But the images then started floating around of a future GTI badge, with the future being electric, and instead of a normal eye in GTI, the eye has been replaced with a lightning bolt. So yeah, that looks terrible, and by God, I hope it's not true. Look, at the end of the day, we've gone way past peak car, and we're living in end times as car enthusiasts. Those of us who are Luddites and are gripping onto the combustion engine for as long as we can. But we look, as an enthusiast thing, we're definitely past the peak, and Volkswagen have fallen off a perch big time over the last few years for many obvious reasons. So does it really matter if they do this to the GTI badge when they go full electric? Probably not. Does it still grind my gears? Yes, it does. I think I put it up on my Instagram, so you've probably seen it. Yeah, it's terrible. If not, just give it a Google. Just look up GTI electric badge. I'm sure it'll pop up pretty soon. It's on the Autocar website as well, I think, as well, if you want to give that a look. So yeah, I'm almost going through all the motoring news, and I've only been recording for 18 minutes. That's relatively short for me now, I must say. So we might not even breach the half-hour mark on this one, which will be a miracle in itself. So motorsport. So obviously there's no Formula 1 because they're under summer break. I don't think there's any big breaking news. Well, it hasn't been confirmed yet, because obviously I talked last time how Otmar Safnauer, team principal at Alpine, left by mutual agreement after Spa. So obviously there's rumours circling around as to who's going to take up that role, and a lot of the strongest rumours seem to be that Matteo Binotto is being linked with the job. Matteo Binotto being the former Ferrari team principal before Fred Vasseur came in this season, who got the axe again via mutual agreement apparently, because it's been 12, 13, 14, 15 years since, more than that, 2008. 2008 was 15 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah, so it's been 15 years since Ferrari last won a championship, and that was the Constructors' Championship in 2008. And then their last Driver Championship was 2007, so that's 16 years ago. And, you know, every 1 or 2 years, when they haven't won something, it's decided that the boss has to be sacked. The team principal, not the boss, because they seem to think that will solve everything, even though there's definitely lots of other big issues that the team just don't address. Hopefully Fred Vasseur gets a little bit longer to try and get Ferrari back to winning ways. But anyway, yeah, Matteo Binotto was given the job last year, and he's been the one rumoured to get the Alpine job. Whether that's true or not, we shall see. But you know, would you want the job with Alpine? Alpine seems like a bit of a shit show. I don't know. They keep talking about plans and where they're going to go, but they've been doing that for years, and I don't know. Alpine as a whole, there was a press release I read during the week about how they want to become the French Ferrari. That sounds like an ambitious thing to say. Never overpromise and under-deliver. It's even hard to know where the Alpine road car division's going, because the A110 was great, but it wasn't exactly a massive seller for them. And now that'll be the only combustion car they ever make. Well, excluding the stuff from way back in the day before the brand was resurrected. Everything else will be electric from here on out. Yeah, I don't know. We shall see. Other F1 news, I don't think anything else really happened. I'm trying to think. There must be something of interest while they're on their summer break. F1 doesn't really tend to stand still, even when they're supposed to have time off. No, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure I'll think of something when I stop recording. So yeah, there's only 1 week, so we've another 3 weekends without F1 to go before it returns for Zandvoort. Well, as at Motorsport, the WRC was on at the weekend, Rally Finland, which is one of the highlights of the calendar, because it's full of jumps through forests, which is always exciting. So something I must do some year, actually. It'd be a good excuse to go to Finland, and then yeah, it'd be good to go see the rally as well. Couple of big retirements early on. Latvala and Oitanak both crashed out, so that kind of left doors open for other people to take some spoils, because I think Tanak crashed out of the lead possibly on the Saturday, I think it was. I managed to, because while I was I arose quite early most mornings, because when you're sleeping on an air mattress that has a slow leak in it, it's not particularly comfortable. So each morning I did wake up and watch the little 3-4 minute highlight videos that they put up on their YouTube channel. The WRC put up on their YouTube channel, so I was able to keep an eye on the World Rally Championship, despite the fact I was at a music festival. So it ended up being Elfyn Evans, the Welshman, son of Gwyndaf Evans, again another throwback to rallying of the 90s and early millennium, like last time I was talking about WRC when Cali Rovanpera won, because his dad is Harry Rovanpera. But yeah, Elfyn Evans won, which puts him, because he won outright, so he got 25 points for that, and he got the points for the power stage at the end, so he got 30 points in total, and it puts him 25 points behind, is Terry Noville, or is it Latvia is leading? I should really know these things. Oh, anyway, yeah, he won, and second was Thierry Neuville, and third was it what was the Japanese driver's name? Katsuo. Oh, I should know these. I really should know these things. But yeah, that was good. It's always entertaining to watch them, the WRC cars tear through the forests in Finland. Katsuoka, is that his name? God damn it! Hang on, I'm going to Google him. I should know this. Japanese. That's not how you spell Japanese. Japanese Toyota WRC drivers. Takamoto Katsuta. Yeah, he finished third. So yeah, it was, and I think Ollie Solberg, again, the son of Peter Solberg, who's was in WRC last year, I think. He was doing it. He was competing in WRC 2. He won WRC 2 and was within the top 5 or 6 of the overall standings, which helped with some of the big retirements. But the thing is, I was like with WRC 2, there's only a couple of. I think you don't compete in all. Well, no, you compete in all the rounds, but I think it's only out of anyway, there's a couple of rounds you have to nominate where you don't win drivers' points. It's up to you pre-season to choose which ones you don't score in. You still can score constructors' points, but I don't know why they do that. But anyway, they do. But for some reason, Rally Finland was one of the ones he chose not to score drivers' points in, and he ended up winning it, which was a bit annoying for him. But yeah, WRC always interesting. I really should. Maybe next season I'll follow it more. I might even consider getting a BT Sport, because I said last time they do actually cover it, and I'll be able to keep my finger on the pulse more and to remember drivers' names and stuff. They told us the rain was about to stop. I'm actually recording this rather than doing a walkie round one because I'm too lazy to go into the city centre today, because I need to just recharge after the weekend. So I'm sitting in the front of a Peugeot partner as I record it, and as you might be able to hear pitter pattering off the roof, it's now begun to rain. They told us all the wet July rain was behind us and we're going to have a run of good weather, but no, here comes the rain. Great. So that's really the motorsport news I have. I'm sure other motorsport happened to us. Like, look, I was distracted over the weekend, so I didn't catch it all. So I'll start wrapping it up now. I'm actually going to London this weekend. I'm going for a concert, but I'm there from Friday evening up until Sunday evening, and the concert's on the Saturday evening. So I'll have some time to wander around. So I'll try, just wandering around London, and no doubt I'll see some good stuff. But I might even look up and see if there's any car-related stuff. I remember one time was it the last time I was there? I've been to London a good few times, so I'm sure most of us have. I was walking by the V&A Museum, just walking around London, and they was having a car-related exhibition. It was great. So yeah, I might buzz into the British Library, because would inducted be the right word? The recent inductee into the British Library was the engine sound of the Jag F-Type or the V8 one. So I might just nip in just to experience that, because why not? But yeah, so going to London, so hopefully a more car-related weekend than this one, so I'll have more shite to talk about next time I record one. Might even record it in London as I'm walking around, so when I see cool stuff I can discuss it with you. Because I've been enjoying the walkie round ones. They're good crack. But yeah, let's see what else happens over the next week. I'll sign off as normal with my classified find of the week. I really like this one. This is a good one. It's in Dublin. It's on Dundee. It's in Dublin. I think it's in the vintage car section, but give it a Google and you'll find it. It's a 1997 Mitsubishi Chariot, as what we would call here the Mitsubishi. Was it the Space Wagon? Yeah. But it's a Mitsubishi Chariot GT, which means it's a Mitsubishi Space Wagon, but with the Lancer Evolution 3 running gear, so 4-wheel drive, 2-litre turbo, manual gearbox, but it's a Mitsubishi Space Wagon. $5,500. It is Irish registered and everything, NCT and all that. So yeah, if you want something really curious, $5,500. I'm sure there's negotiation in there as well. Because even try getting a Lancer Evo 3 for $5,500, you're not going to. And this is a rarer car. It's probably slightly heavier than an Evo, but still, I'm sure you're not going to be lacking for performance. Give that a look. My YouTube channel of the week. Again, one most people are probably familiar with because he's featured in quite a lot of Harry Metcalf's videos, but he has his own channel, which he does some really nerdy, interesting stuff about classic cars and supercars and even just smaller interesting stuff. Ian Tyrrell, Tyrrell's Classic Garage, is it Ian, or Classic Cars? Type in Ian Tyrrell into YouTube anyway, it'll come up. He has his own channel, definitely worth a watch. He knows his shit. And the song I'll leave you with is one of the artists I saw at Altogether Now. He was a surprise act announced on the Saturday evening for the Sunday afternoon. Kojak, he's an Irish rapper. Kojak is spelled Kojaque, Kojak. And I'll recommend his most recent track, Bambi. It's real kind of laid back 90s style, lyrically driven, hip hop. So give that a go. So I'll finish up now. It just generally is a short one. We're just a nib under the 30-minute mark. We're about to hit it. So I'll see if I can wrap up before we hit 30 minutes. I love you all. Thanks for listening. Be safe, be well. Talk to you again soon. Bye.